be requested to put their mics on. In order to maintain your order as a speaker in the queue, when asking a question, please leave your microphone on until you've received a response and ask a supplementary question. For those attending remotely, please note that those in the chamber will not be able to use the chat facility. Remote attendees, if you do need to leave the meeting temporarily, pop a message in the chat function so that Democratic Service Officer is aware and let us know when you return. I expect everyone participating in this meeting to conduct themselves appropriately and be respectful to each other. That applies to members, officers and members of the press and public attending. When I open up a debate to members, I will ask committee members to speak and put their questions first. I will then ask non-committee members to push their buttons to request to speak. It would be helpful if members could ask all their questions in one go. Whilst I do not wish to stifle debate, can I remind members that any questions should be focused on the subject matter to avoid repetition. So we'll crack on with the agenda. I would also like to welcome Councillor Harry to the committee tonight. So item 1, apologies for absence.
Just one apology from Councillor Chris Hughes. Are there any others? No.
Okay, thank you. Item 2, Declaration of Interest, Code of Local Government Conduct. Can I remind members that they must declare the nature of the declared personal interest? Councillor Harry.
Yes, thanks, Chair. Trust you can hear me, and thank you for your welcome. Congratulations on your appointment as well. I should declare personal interest in item 9.1, update on the delivery of the local toilet strategy. So I'm a member of Llandudno Town Council, which is one of this council's partners under that strategy. So that's the personal interest.
Thank you, Harry. And yeah, so I'm just going to take some advice on town councillors, but I'll bring in Keith Eels, Councillor Keith, if you could.
Good evening, Chair. Congratulations on your appointment as well.
Thank you.
My declaration of interest is also on 9A, the toilet strategy. I'm a trustee of an organisation that's taking on the toilets in Llandudno. So whether it won't be prejudicial, but I just need to declare an interest.
Yeah, thank you. And Councillor Carroll. Oh,
Councillor Carroll.
Councillor Carroll, we lost your speaking then. Are you able to do your press to speak? Sorry. You're queued now.
We'll go Councillor Allen and then bring in.
Yeah, so
Carroll.
Councillor Carroll, we'll come back to you, sorry, for just a minute with the IT there. So if we could go to Councillor Allen.
Yeah, thanks, Chair, and congratulations. 9A as well, toilet strategy. I'm a member of Abergele Town Council, and we sponsor one of the toilets in our area.
And Councillor Sam.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, also 9A, I'm a member of Conway Town Council, and we are sponsoring toilets within the Town Council area.
Lovely. I've got next speaker, Councillor Louise.
Yeah, congratulations. Although I'm not a member of the committee, I'll probably be making some comments on the toilet strategy and Llandudno Town Council personal interests because we also sponsor toilets. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Carroll again. Could I ask Councillor Carroll to put in the chat if there's any other different interest other than being on the town council? Maybe we'd be happy to note that it's probably that. Is that okay? Yeah, lovely. So we've got Councillor Paul next.
Thank you, Chair, and congratulations on your appointment. I'm also referring to 9A, I'm a member of Abergele Town Council, which sponsors one of the toilets.
Lovely. And Councillor Hannah?
Thank you, Chair. Again, another town councillor, this time for Bayer Colwyn, and we sponsor toilets as well. Thank you.
That's the last of my speakers on declarations. Lovely. Okay, thank you. Urgent matters. So, notice of items which, in the opinion of the chairman, should be considered at the meeting as a matter of urgency. We're not aware of any urgent matters. So we're going to go to the item 4, which is minutes. And these are pages 4 to 12. And so what I'd be asking for is to approve and sign as a correct record of the minutes of the previous meeting. So if we're looking for a proposer tonight, I've got Councillor Allen in the chamber and Councillor Gale to second. So I'd ask members tonight to show their hands to approve. Oh, sorry, Councillor Harry, sorry, apologies there. Thanks for bearing with me.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. No problem, that's fine. I just wanted to check we're taking the minutes from the last 2 meetings together. Are we?
Apologies, yes. Yeah, so these are minutes of the 25th of the 6th, 2025, and the 2nd of July, 2025. Yeah, as of pages 4 to 12.
That's fine. In that case, if you just bear with me, Chair, I do have some comments regarding the minutes of the meeting held on the 2nd of July. Looking at minute 97, so that's the Venue Cymru Futures report, there's a list of bullet points that details the discussion. And the third bullet point from the bottom makes reference to a business case for the project being submitted to or shared with the UK government. My recollection of the meeting, I think the webcast is quite clear on this, is that there was an anticipation amongst the committee that that business case would be presented to them. I think that's the basis on which the recommendation was made. Now, I can understand that having raised this with your predecessor and the monitoring officer, myself, but that doesn't form part of the recommendation, but it's certainly an important part of the discussion. So I'd be grateful if that could be reflected within the minutes.
Hi, thanks, Councillor Harry. I've just had some, I've got some advice here in relation to the, so members who attended the last meeting need to, so no motion or discussion shall be allowed upon the confirmation of minutes, except as to their accuracy, and any questions upon this point shall be determined by the majority of members of the committee present when the matter in question was decided. So those members who attended the last meeting, do they feel that minutes are a fair and balanced view of the meeting? And that's what the committee have to decide upon. So they're not a verbatim, they are they are a summary of the minutes. So those that were present at the last meeting, you have to decide whether you think they're a fair and accurate record, and if not, you need to make a proposals accordingly.
Yeah. So that was the advice given by Dawn just and Harry. So I'm asking members, are they happy that the minutes are an accurate record and a fair and balanced view? We've got Councillor Allen in the chamber who wants to accept them as are.
I can't. I wasn't at the last meeting.
Sure. Is anyone else wanting to second them as a correct record? Councillor Hannah?
Happy to second.
We've got another speaker there, or is that?
My recollection is that the legal officer went through what the recommendation was as well, and that's what we then voted on.
So I'll just bring in Councillor Sam.
Yes, Chair. I think my recollection of the meeting, certainly this discussion, was that it was Councillor Chris Hughes who actually made a proposal. I don't know if it was the one that was taken forward, but certainly there was discussion around the importance of having sight of the business case going forward. Certainly that was my understanding. Whether that was the committee or the whole council, I definitely remember it was Councillor Chris Hughes who stressed the importance of sight of the business case, as I'd understood it before any any further decisions were made on this proposal. Thank you.
Do you have another speaker, Councillor Louise?
I appreciate I'm not on the committee this evening, but I was on the committee during this meeting, so I don't know whether I'm allowed to speak about it or not. Just take advice, please.
Yeah, you can speak on it.
Okay, so I think the issue we have is the recommendation wasn't correctly taken from what was said by the proposer. So the proposer said one thing with the business case, and then the recommendation wasn't correct. So I don't think it's a true record of what happened that evening, but I don't have a vote tonight.
The recommendation is the recommendation. You cannot change the recommendation. That's what you voted on when I think the monitoring officer read out the recommendation, and that is what the committee voted on. But the proposal that Councillor Harry is asking is for the preamble to be amended. So those who attended the last meeting, if you feel they're not a true record of what was said or a true summary, then you can make a proposal.
So we do have a proposal and a
Can I
second.
come back in?
Yeah, Councillor Harlow.
Yeah. Just correct me if I'm wrong, the officers can. These minutes have been published about a week ago when we get the agendas. So if there's any queries, they should have been brought up and asked for rectification before it comes to this committee now. We're here to accept the minutes as written, which is generally the way it is. So I'll stand by my original proposal to accept the minutes.
Yeah, and last speaker, I'll take Councillor Mike briefly.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and congratulations. I was actually chairing the meeting, and I think what the Vice Chair said is my recollection. There are times as a chair that there's going to be quite a not a difficult meeting, but a meeting that you want the advice of senior officers. I asked Matt to attend that meeting as the chair. I asked him to attend, and I asked him to clarify each step we went through. And my understanding is that's exactly what he'd done, and that's what you voted on. That is my recollection.
So yeah, I was at the meeting too. So I'm going to move the proposer and seconder, and we're going to take a vote on it. Obviously, if it doesn't go, then we'll have to look to defer, but we'll take a show of hands for the vote tonight, please.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, 8 in favour. Anyone against?
Any against? And any abstentions? Councillor Gale, because she wasn't here. Okay, and that's been approved. Thank you. So item 5 is the minutes of the local area forums. These are pages 13 to 15. And the first forum that we'll go to is West. And these should be presented by Councillor Gromway. But I don't think he's in attendance tonight. So I will ask, is there any other members of West Area Forum, Local Area Forum?
Proposal.
That's possible to propose them tonight.
Is there anyone in that meeting?
Councillor Harry, sorry.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I was going to say if it helps, of course, I'm guessing we're just noting the minutes.
Yeah.
If no one else wants to make a proposal, I'm happy to propose as a member of this committee that we note those draft minutes.
Yeah, thank
if
you.
That helps move
Yeah,
things
very
along.
much so, Harry. Thank you.
Can we have a second?
Any seconder? Councillor. Yeah, just a show of hands then to accept the minutes of Committee West. Lovely. Oh, any against? Sorry. And any abstentions? No. Lovely. So, local area forum South to be presented by Councillor Nia. Good evening, Councillor Nia.
That's with that.
Good evening, thank you very much, Councillor Michael, and congratulations to you on your appointment as chair of this committee. I would like to present the minutes of the local area forum for the South and to be noted as an accurate record of the meeting. One quick thing, similar to the West area forum, we are also eager to meet with the Minister Ken Skates to discuss the same concerns that they have in regard to periods during which the A55 is closed and the chaos that ensues along the A470 and in Llanrwst. Apart from that, it was a good meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. And do we have a second? Councillor Aaron. Thank you. And can we have a show of hands on that then, please? Thank you. And that's passed.
Yeah, no one again.
Yeah.
Councillor Harry next.
Yeah, so Councillor Harry will be presenting Local Area Forum North now. These are pages 19 to 21. When you're ready, Councillor Harry.
Yes, thank you, Chair. As you've said, the draft minutes from the Local Area Forum North's meeting held on the 9th of July are included in the agenda pack. I think that self-explanatory. So if members have any questions, both myself and the Vice Chair, Councillor Carol Beard, are here this evening. In the absence of any questions, I'm quite happy to propose that you note those draft minutes.
Lovely, and could I have a seconder for that? Councillor Carroll, thank you. And could we have a show of hands from the committee? Thank you. And any against? No, that's been passed. Thank you. Thank you, Harry. Local Area Forum East, it's myself that chairs this, so these are available for members on pages 22 to 24. I did share the meeting. I do recall them as an accurate record of that meeting. I suppose one comment that would be due to note, and it may in the future affect other local area forums, but it's the occasional lack of officers attending the meetings. We have raised it before, but we'll pick that up. But yeah, we got a seconder for the agenda, the minutes of the East. Councillor Allen. So can we take a vote on that then, please? Thank you. And anyone against? Thank you. So that's been passed. And the last of the local area forums is Central now, and this is to be presented by Councillor Cheryl. Thank you.
Dear Chair, and congratulations again on your appointment. I'd like to present the Local Area Forum Central minutes. We had, it's pages 25 to 28 for members. We had an excellent and exciting presentation concerning the proposed redevelopment of the Bayview Centre in Colwyn Bay. Very productive discussions and unanimous support to keep this key retailer and the client stores in Colwyn Bay. Particularly welcome the improvements to the pharmacy. That's going to help with all the pharmacy issues we have at the moment. And the Colwyn Bay Recovery and Investment Project, also known as the Active Travel Project, was touched on briefly, but was a subject of a special further meeting on the 6th of August, the minutes of which will follow. So I ask members to note the meeting. Diolch.
And could I have a seconder for Councillor Chow? Councillor Gill. Lovely, thank you. So if I have a show of hands from the committee, if you wouldn't mind. And anyone against? Lovely, that has been passed. So thank you for that. So moving on to agenda item 6 now, this is questions to Cabinet members. We have none for this evening. So straight into item 7. And we're going to review the forward work programme now. And This is for Economy in Place Overview and Scrutiny Committee Forward Work Programme, pages 29 to 36.
Thank you, Chair. Oh, get these off. So, following the annual Forward Work Programme planning meeting, the forward plan has now been updated to reflect the reports that will come forward during the year. One of the topics raised was in relation to emergency planning, civil contingency plans. I think this was raised at one of the Finance and Resources Overview and Scrutiny Committee meetings. I am liaising with the Head of Regulatory Services who leads on emergency planning to invite representatives from the North Wales Regional Emergency Planning Service to give an update to members. I'll liaise also with the Chair. We're hoping sometime around November, but I will keep you informed. That's my update, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. And could we, and the combined forward work plan, these are pages 37 to 67, is that included in that?
Yeah, I don't have any
sorry.
update. That's just so you're aware of all the reports that are going to it, whether Cabinet and other scrutiny committees.
Okay. Councillor Cheryl wants to come in at that point then.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, just to come in there and say, as the new Chair, you'll be aware that there is a report coming now on the Portharius that I originally requested to come to Finance and Resources, but is now coming to you, and we'll be, as we've discussed, have the pre-meet, but just for members' information. Diolch.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much for that. So just asking for a proposal for the Forward Work Programme now, and it looks like Councillor Aaron is wanting to propose that, and it looks like I've got Councillor Harry for seconding that. So if we could have a show of hands then, please. And anyone against? No, that's brilliant, fantastic, that's been carried. So item 8, this is to consider a report from the Head of Economy and Culture on the following matters. Access denied, older people's experiences of digital exclusion in Wales. This is in the report pack pages 68 to 134. The report is to be introduced by Councillor Dilwyn.
He's online. Councillor Dilwyn's online.
Who is online tonight.
But may need to press his
and if he's able to press his talk speak to talk button, then we can bring him in. Seem to be struggling with your sound there, Dylan. Are you struggling? Yeah, Councillor Dilwyn, if you're able to get that sorted, we'll bring you back in a few short minutes. But I'm going to go straight to Andrew Saunders. He's the Development Manager for Information and Culture and Libraries, and you're going to bring the detail of the report to us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'm here to present the Conway Council Strategic Response and Action Plan that addresses the Older People's Commissioner for Wales access denied findings on digital exclusion among older people, and to ask the committee to endorse the plan and related recommendations. The Commissioner's 2024 report highlights persistent exclusion and calls for strengthened action and scrutiny across Wales. Our response consolidates existing good practice and sets out the structured next steps. To give it a national context, 7% of adults in Wales are not online. Only 41% of people 75 plus have basic digital skills. So digital exclusion disproportionately affects older people. While Conway specific data is limited, local engagement and service patterns show significant reliance on non-digital access, reinforcing a dual approach, maintaining offline access and promoting digital inclusion. So what we're already doing successfully really in Conway is, for non-digital access, we have a strong offer via phone post, via our single PO box, in-person text phone and BSL interpretation. With face-to-face, we have help through our libraries, leisure centres, co-peddler and community resource teams. We also do printed manuals, printed materials, sorry, and in a lot of cases we will provide printed solutions, but we will also print on demand. And we also do outreach and home visits. Some good practices that we've had examples of during the pandemic period. We had wellbeing packs that were provided to people. We had home visits for benefits and recycling. We had telephone-based services, including automated payments. And I think during the pandemic, we also provided community support service to much needed communities. The library-based support includes things like Blue Badge, bus passes, scanning to national services like passports or driving licence authorities. But there's quite a lot of work that goes on within libraries to support people wider to other services, whether it be banks, etc. So it's not just Conway services that are provided for. On digital inclusion supports, again, I refer to the library digital help. It's more of an ad hoc service, so people can go in when they have issues relating to that and get support. We've provided care homes with devices in the past with iPad 4G provision. We've also provided Alexa devices where we can. We also have the push-to-talk LoRaWAN support for carers. And we also offer free public Wi-Fi at numerous sites across Conway. Our case studies really demonstrate the impact really on independence and well-being that we provide. As far as the 5 objectives are concerned, we have the guarantee of non-digital access, so maintaining high quality offline routes in both Welsh and English. Training frontline staff to support the public when they're requiring digital assistance, coordinating that support with other services, and providing digital assistance in our libraries and co-peddler here. These core actions on the whole are completed, but we continue to look to improve upon them. We look to improve the accessibility and contact, so our phone numbers are prominent now on the website. We went through a stage, I think, where we're trying to promote the digital channel shift. We withdrew a number of telephone numbers, but we wanted to make sure that all our contact centres had a specific area on the website that people could gain easy contact with manned contact centre staff throughout opening hours. So we are looking at how we can enhance the contact centre and the triaging and the capacity within that. This is an ongoing process at the moment in terms of how we can look at how that contact is conducted through telephone to all our different service areas. We are also looking to promote digital inclusion. We've had instances of where we've tried to encourage digital champions, like through the volunteers of the Andami project, looking at peer-to-peer and intergenerational models that can be supported. And I think that's an area, particularly on the intergenerational, that we will try to do a lot more with. Our mobile libraries have now been equipped, so when they go into rural areas, we have a Starlink system that allows us to actually provide digital access from that mobile library. We are also looking to strengthen governance and accountability, so we have cabinet member lead through Dilwyn. We also have embedded within the Inclusion Conway Plan and annual reporting to FROSC. We will be looking to produce a customer access report card, which will report on all the different channels that we have from the members of the public that we can report on a quarterly basis. We've also moved, I think part of the delay in having this report coming here was that it was actually within a different a different committee really, and what we've done is we've transferred it to the customer work stream so it could come under economy and culture and we could report it here. We are also looking to make sure that we can embed inclusive design and co-production into our services. So by making sure that we are applying the digital service standards for Wales, that we update our community involvement strategy to include
this and restore hard copy information where possible. But as I said before, we would also be looking to print on demand where required. As far as our options are concerned, we are looking to recommend option B, which is implement the enhanced action plan. That means fully embedding the inclusion in design, governance and delivery, which we believe aligns with national and local strategies and also the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act. We think that has the most appropriate place within what we're trying to achieve. As far as resources go, I think from service delivery, there will obviously be positive impacts on accessibility, and in turn, hopefully our outcomes and trust. The challenges will include complexity and the pace where we can achieve this, because when we are dealing with effectively other channels outside of digital tools, we are requiring more resource to complete that. What it does offer is more resilience. If we have an issue through redundancy, outages, etc., we still have those other channels in place. But that does require staffing and skills capacity. Budget, there are short-term pressures with regards to training, outreach, and providing that public PC device estate partnership. We have these in our libraries with a public network system, and it's ensuring that they stay up to date. The preventative long-term savings through reduction of isolation, crisis and emergency interventions. There is a risk with regards to moving primarily over to digital, and that is this digital-only drift, and that will leave people behind. We need to make sure that we can achieve all our population, not just those that are more enabled. The staff capacity and tech change, we have to stay abreast of these things. So we have to, as you're probably very much aware at the moment, AI is very much in the picture. How do we make sure that people are not left behind with these technologies? We want to ensure that we embed the offline access, secure the funding and ongoing training stakeholder engagement to ensure that this plan can be delivered. I hope based on what you've seen and what you've heard there, you are able to endorse the action plan and support the Commissioner's recommendations. As I say, we are looking to increase the scrutiny in this through the customers work stream and also through our committees. I hope that you can endorse that going forward now.
And thank you, Andrew, for presenting that report tonight. I have noticed that Councillor Dilwyn might have resolved his IT issues. So just before I open debate on this item tonight, I'd just like to give him the opportunity to come in and speak.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Can, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, there we are. Well, first of all, congratulate you on being elected to chair, of course, Michael, and Guy hefyd.
May I also thank Andrew for presenting the report so comprehensively and concisely there. And I apologise that I was unable to come in at the beginning. I shall take advantage of this situation to thank our officers for the assistance that they do provide where required with digital access or whatever it may be. So I shan't expand any further on that if there are no questions. And again, I'll thank Andrew Saunders for coming in and explaining so comprehensively. Thank you.
So members, if you got any questions, Councillor Harry.
Yes, thanks, Chair. I've got a couple questions, but look, first of all, I'd say having had a look at option B, I think there's a lot of really good stuff in there. I think not only around promoting digital inclusion, but also ensuring there's that non-digital access for older people. I know that that's an issue that gets raised with me, and I'm sure other councillors quite frequently. The three questions I had, I'll begin with the first one. So I'm looking at the engagement and consultation part of the report. I'm conscious we have a age-friendly champion within the council, my ward colleague, Councillor Mandy Hawkins. I can't see that she's provided any comments for this report, and she's not listed in her champion role. So I just wanted to check, was she consulted? Because I think this would be something that we should be making use of her expertise on.
Could bring in Andrew on that.
Yes, the report was shared with Councillor Mann. As far as on completion of the report, it was shared for comment. We also work quite closely with the age-friendly forum ourselves, so we have made sure that we've consulted with the forum through this period as well.
Cool, amazing. As long as Mandy's had an opportunity to look at this, that's the important thing to my mind. The second of my three questions. So I think you've got an action within the action plan that talks about it. I've got it here on the screen in front of me. Restoring access to hard copy leaflets and information across all sites. Now, one issue that's been raised with members previously, and it's come up in our member development and information forum on a couple of occasions, is around hard copy bus timetables, both in terms of a leaflet available from council and also hard copy timetables at bus stands. So I just wondered whether there'd been any consideration of that within this action plan, whether it's something you can share with us.
Our libraries are able to print off individual sheets on request. We don't necessarily have the scope to be able to print them ourselves unless they are on request.
Okay, cool. Thanks for clarifying that. The final question, and I'm sure it's going to make me incredibly unpopular, but it is a point I think we do need to raise. Obviously, the council has a hub and spoke model for providing face-to-face access to services, and the spokes are our area libraries. Now, we've obviously recently decided to relocate Llandudno's library from Llandudno's town centre to Venue Cymru, despite the council's own equality impact assessment saying that this may create access barriers for older adults. So I just wanted to know, in terms of this report, what mitigations have been considered in terms of older people finding that non-town centre location difficult or more difficult to access?
Yes, I do take your point on this particular one. We, unfortunately, we have, advantages and disadvantages as far as locations are concerned for our libraries. Our libraries are pivotal in providing digital support for our communities, and we will ensure that we meet them wherever that location is. As far as transport links, whatever that might be, into an out of centre location, we will look at how we can make sure that it's an attractive and as useful and supportive environment that we can.
Okay, that's great, Andrew. Thanks for that, Chair. Thank you.
And just going to bring in Councillor Cheryl.
Thanks, Chair. Was Councillor Nigel first, or?
We'll
We'll continue.
Cabinet member till the end.
Yeah, leave cabinet till the end if that's okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Could I just, I'm not on this committee, so thank you for letting me speak. I'd just like to make a couple of comments as the carers champion, because there's a few points in here. I think we have to recognise, don't we, that the landline is essential for our elder residents, and a lot of carers. We're very, very concerned about the new BT, the rollout of the new system where it's going to go to the fibre, the broadband. I think I spoke with, when BT sent the information round to us, I think I spoke with the deputy leader, and we were going to see if we could have BT come and talk to us how it's going to impact on our older people, because there's a lot of concern out there when they've been swapped over. If power goes, if something happens, they are literally cut off, and that's older people and carers. So that was the first one. Second one, looking to our partners, I see that Betsy Cadwallader is the only health board that hasn't contributed to the report, which is really disappointing. And I wanted to flag up what's happening in pharmacies locally. I know in my area, they're moving now to everything going to an app for repeat prescriptions, and that's caused great problems for the elderly people and those not digitally enabled in Old Colwyn. So I think that's an area we as a council need to look into. Betsy hasn't even bothered to respond to the report. So, and the finally the main complaint I get from residents is when they phone the council, when they're not online, they phone the council and they don't get phoned back. They're told they'll be phoned back. And I think that's something we really need to have. We got some mechanism now for, you know, when a call comes in, is there something, you know, you're supposed to phone back within? Is there something like that for our people that are not online? So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Andrew?
Thank you. I'll address the callback facility. We do have a callback facility on some lines. What we need to investigate is how that can be implemented on more lines. I think what we want is consistency across our contact centres, and that's one of the things that we will be looking at, really, to ensure that there is that consistency going forward. Yeah.
Thank you. And Councillor Nigel?
Oh. Diolch, Cadeirydd, and
oh, sorry, Councillor Charles. I couldn't see the.
It was the answers to the others about how we're going to work with Betsy Cadwallader and BT coming to talk to us. So thank you.
As far as BT, I recognise the concerns there. You know, I think the provision of a digital-only phone line is concerning for when, you know, there are power outages, and I think, you know, we have to bear that in mind in terms of how we will be providing services going forward if situations like that do arise. As far as Betsy Cadwallader is concerned, we would look to be working with all our partners as closely as we possibly can, with making sure, again, that actually we take a more consistent approach across our county, particularly, but across North Wales, really, when it comes to Betsy with regards to that. With regards to the app itself, we do provide assistance, again, as I say, in the libraries where we support people who have those devices. The problem is it's those that don't. You know, that's where we have to be looking at how we can support. So I think we would like to work further with Betsy to see how we can support that.
Thank you.
I just add as well that the Betsy Cadwallader have been engaging on the age-friendly fronts more recently, and have been attending some of the meetings, and they have also approached us previously about some surgery type contact and what's possible in our communities and video links. Some of that can be quite challenging to set up, but we have had approaches on that front. So maybe that's something that we should be re-looking at as a service as well, to see what their approach is.
That's great. Thank you, Dale.
Just going to bring in Vice Chair Hannah, Councillor Hannah.
Thank you very much, Chair. So I understand that Harry proposed that we would go with option B, and I was going to second that. I was in the Colwyn Bay Library this morning, and it was lovely to see the patient and creative way that the staff there were supporting people. And there are quite a number of people actually there working on computers and doing different things, both for their own interest and also, you know, things that they needed to do for day-to-day life. And it's just good to see the patient way that they are supported there. And I'd like to thank our library staff while I can. Thank you.
So we have got a seconder. Just before we do that, I'm going to bring in Cabinet Member Councillor Nigel.
Diolch, Cadeirydd, and congratulations on your appointment. Andrew, thank you for your presentation. Digital inclusion is very, very important, and Sharon's library team have done a wonderful job over the years, upskilling our residents. Town and Kimmel Bay recently, well, last year, or was it this year? Early this year, we got our free Wi-Fi scheme along the A547 Coast Road. That will allow people who wish to partake in digital inclusion but perhaps can't afford it to access our free Wi-Fi, which will prove beneficial to those people, particularly on low incomes. I fully support this. I'm just mindful of the fact of our financial position. I'm just wondering, I can't see anything in the report that says there is a financial cost. Is there a financial cost to this?
What we've always tried to do is try to ensure that we keep, we do a lot of these things within service as much as we possibly can. We also look for external funding, additional grant funding, where we need to implement new systems, for instance. I would think potentially some of the work that we are doing in, for instance, re-looking at contact centre, that sort of area. Yes, I think, inevitably that will be, but there will be, we would obviously also be having to look at where there are efficiency savings to be made and to be covered by this. But I think as far as the plan is concerned, these are the things that we need to embed within services to make sure it is part of service design to continue. We've worked, closely recently where, that there have been service savings that have been made, that we've been able to continue the provision of a sort of a paper-based service, but moving it more to on-demand rather than, a bulk print situation. So there are areas that we have to look really at how we can, we can do what we need to do, which is ensuring that we can deliver to the Commissioner's recommendations. But we have to do that within the structures of our budgets or where we can find external funding to support.
Okay. Thanks, Andrew. Thank you.
I'm going to bring in my last speaker, Councillor Bernice.
Thank you, Chair. And again, congratulations, Michael. I run an older persons group, and I know there are a lot of other people, and these are groups. It would be nice if we consulted them as well. And if we get a list together, possibly something Mandy can help you with, we could actually get someone to come out and talk to these older residents. So we're actually consulting them and telling them what's available. It might help. Thank you.
I completely agree. No, I think we do need to, we have in the past held, consultation within various, with our libraries, within community centres, etc. And I think we do need to ensure that continues and we're not solely reliant on online forms to collect data.
It's not just libraries and community centres. There are lots of other groups available, run by churches. I can think of 2 or 3 off the top of my head, quite local, that are just local groups that don't make a big song and dance. And the older persons, I can't think what they were called. They used to produce a regular magazine out to everybody, and it came from Denby. Sorry, I can't remember what it's called. And I used to find people wanting me to give them that in a hard copy, which we gave. And there were lots of groups there that are not widely known. So that might be somebody to talk to, as well as Mandy, to get details of groups that tend to be under the radar, unfortunately. Thank you.
Yeah, I think if we can, I think we should be building up a list of our community groups that we, as you say, maybe we're not aware of them all, but I think the more that we can start to reach out further into consultation with these groups, the better.
The Age Connect is working with us across Conwy and Ambition, and they do consult, but maybe they're not reaching all arenas as you were conveying there. But there's also potential in what some digital resources can provide to share information, so that we can then, if we collate it in Dewis, or there will be hopefully a new function on the library management system that we have to collate information about community groups, and then we can print again on demand for people to share information with them, at least, because it's quite quickly changing information sometimes, isn't it? It's a Tuesday afternoon and then it's a Wednesday afternoon, and all these things sometimes change. So just keeping people up to date as far as we can. Thank you.
All right, thank you all. So we have a proposer in Councillor Harry and a secretary in Councillor Hannah. So I'd like to go to the recommendation that Economy and Place Scrutiny and Overview Committee and Cabinet support the Older People's Commissioner recommendations, option B, which is to implement the Enhanced Action Plan recommended is approved as the preferred approach. So can we look to open the vote? Just need to remind members that the Overview and Scrutiny Committee refer the report and action plan to Governance and Audit Committee to provide assurance that the content has been acknowledged and that proactive steps have been made to address the recommendations included in this report. Apologies for not bringing that. So we're going to look to open the vote now.
It's closed too.
Is everyone looking to be able to vote? Has it popped up? I think we're ready to vote. Ready to close the vote then? And that's 13 for, no against and no abstention, so that is carried. Thank you, committee. Thank you. So we are at item 8 now, and we're going to be considering a report by the head of Roads and Environment, Roads and Facilities on the following matter, and we're going to have an update on the local toilet strategy. These are pages 135 to 145. Now the report is to be introduced by Councillor Mike Priestley, Cabinet Member for Environments, Roads and Facilities, and the report will go into detail with Councillor Officer Geraint Edwards, Head of ERF, will provide any detail. Thank you, Councillor Mike.
Thank you very much, Chair. So the local toilet strategy was approved by Cabinet in November 2023. A report providing an update and progress on delivering the local toilet strategy and the actions detailed in the delivery plan was actually presented to this Economy and Place Committee, I think a year ago this month. At this meeting, the committee requested a further update. The plan, in my opinion, was a brave plan, a brave one, in so much that the future needs of toilet provision be provided at a cost-neutral basis. I do have some areas to highlight risk of this strategy. You will see that mentioned in my comments, but I will talk about that again just as I finish this introduction. Section 5 of the local toilet strategy describes the 5 action points proposed to achieve the goal of providing public toilets in Conwy at a cost-neutral basis, and I'll just go through those actions just quickly. So action 1 was to explore opportunities to work with town and community councils and to keep the local toilets open. And I think it's fair to say that extensive engagement was undertaken with relevant town and community councils to explore these opportunities, to collaborate with us, Conwy County Borough Council, to maintain a level of service provision for 2025 to 26, and that's based on local circumstances. With the support of town and community councils, 21 public toilets will remain open across 9 wards during 25-26. Of these, 20 facilities will be open year-round and 1 will be closed during the winter period. I want to place on record my sincere thanks to the committed and dedicated officers, in particular Gary Williams, who's no longer with us in Conway County Borough Council, but it's fair to say the work that he did on this strategy was just amazing. And Sarah Gallagher, who's taken over from that now. I think you only have to look at paragraphs 3.5 and 3.6 in this report, and that will demonstrate the commitment that these 2 officers paid in delivering and bringing this strategy to us. I just want to touch on public toilets and where they are available. Quickly, I'll just go through. Public toilets you can find in Llangyrnu, Llansannan, Penmachno, Dolwyddelyn, Pentref Llanefydd, Abergele, Bay of Colwyn, Conway, Llandudno, Llanafechyn, Trefu, Llanfairtel Hen, and this is all down to and thanks goes to the support from local community groups, town and community councils. And I think, Chair, you only have to look at the declarations of interest here tonight by members in this room that are town councillors as well to see that the support that was given. So I'm truly grateful for that. So there are currently 48 public toilets available in Conway. This includes the 21 public toilets that are run by Conway County Borough Council. We have 20 toilets available, 20 buildings that can provide the service throughout the county. 5 public toilets managed by local community groups or community councils, and 2 businesses are signed up on the community toilet scheme. If we then look at Action 2, work collaboratively across the council to make toilets at existing council buildings available to the public. The toilet facilities at all existing council buildings that we identified are now available for use. So that is, as I said earlier, that is a total of 20 facilities across the county. Action 3 and 4 are put together, engage with local businesses and encourage them to make their toilets available to the public. And Action 4, which would be to review the community toilet scheme with a view at improving the quality and range of facilities available at businesses that are signed up to the scheme. This is an area that I'm actually keen to explore further with them 2 actions and to build on the great collaboration that's been demonstrated throughout this report. Action 5 you look at is to review the current charging arrangements and consider additional paid for toilets where applicable. 13 out of the 21 public toilets are currently open and have charge arrangements installed. The remaining 8 are sponsored by town councils, so they remain free of charge. And again, I thank the town councils for working with us. Before I hand over to Geraint Edwards, I did say there is risk in this strategy and costs could be incurred if, as I said within my comments within this report, if all goes well and we achieve the predicted footfall, we collect agreed financial sponsorship and the level of vandalism is contained, we are looking to break even this financial year. Can I just put on record that let's remind ourselves the task ahead. Not so long ago, public conveniences had a budget line of round about £500,000 a year. There was a budget line of there costing the council taxpayer of Conway £500,000 a year. So you can see how ambitious this strategy is. As I say, I will hand over to Geraint. I just want to touch upon the kiosks that are to be built in Rows-on-Sea. There is a proposal there to have 1 cubicle each in them kiosks, and the responsibility for managing those facilities will be transferred to the tenants, the successful tenants of there. So possibly again another 2 facilities along the promenade in Rows-on-Sea, which I would imagine local members would be pleased to see that. And I believe there's a similar arrangement, and I'm looking to Geraint in Kimmel Bay with a facility that's coming online there, which will be part of this strategy. So I will hand over to Geraint if to go into any more detail within the report. As I said, it's a really brave strategy. There are risks in it. As I say, if there's a lot of vandalism, you know, what do we do? And I think there's got to be a conversation that we have to address that. But I just want to say thanks to everyone that's been part of this report. The collaboration is just amazing. If we could get that across the piece, it'd just be fantastic. So thank you very much. I'll hand over to Geraint.
Thank you, Councillor Mike. There isn't an awful lot more to add, to be fair, with regard to the report. It's been a journey, a 2-year journey from the development of the strategy. Developing strategies is one thing. Delivering those strategies on the ground, particularly one that has been as contentious, I think it's fair to say contentious, as the public toilet strategy. I too would want to note the work and effort that has gone in, not just by officers but by members who have been out canvassing on behalf of the county in town and community councils. The town and community councils, we've had some colourful meetings, I think it's fair to say, but we have moved an awful long way. I think it's been recognised by town and community councils that the county council does not have the resources of itself to deliver all of the service that was the public conveniences within the county. This hasn't been, we haven't been isolated in Conway County. You only have to look across the region, and certainly some of the stuff that's currently happening in neighbouring authorities with regard to closure of their public conveniences. I think at the time of developing the strategy, I did question myself and my colleagues, what use is the strategy going to be? Looking back, I have to say it's one of those strategies that has not sat on a shelf. It has been used to demonstrate how we can think differently about toilet provision, working with town and community councils, other businesses, other stakeholders, to try to maintain those facilities. And as I say, I think I would like to commend all those people that have been involved, who have actively sought to do exactly the same thing. I think in terms of a strategy, the report before you identifies those areas of the strategy that we needed to work on to complete the actions, and there's a table in the report that identifies the actions that we have now completed. Thank you.
Thank you, Geraint, and thank you, Councillor Mike, for bringing that report for us this evening. So we're going to open the debate, and the first speaker is Councillor Simon. We've not got your audio, Councillor Simon, although you are. Do you want to?
Can you hear me at all?
Yes, we can now. There we go.
Oh, right, I don't know what's going on here.
We can hear you. Oh, you lost us now. If you attempt to not speak, and then I'll bring you back in at another point, if that's okay, Simon, because I think you could hear us, and then we did hear you eventually. So, next speaker, Councillor Aaron.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Geraint. And welcome to Mike in his new post with the public toilets. So thank you for taking us through the report. I've got 2 questions. I'll start with an easy one. We've got a list of public conveniences available in Llanrwst in council buildings. I don't know how easy it is to use the public toilets in, how good it would be for people to use the toilets in the swimming pool, because it's not very large, but we have got a youth centre just next door that could be made use of, and I don't know if we could have discussions with the youth services perhaps to see if those toilets could be made available. My second question, which is a little bit trickier, you said, Mike, that this is the list of toilets for the year 25-26. What happens next year then? If we were to merely break even this year, what would happen next year? Do we need to make a start now on those discussions with community councils? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. I've actually used the toilets in Llanrwst swimming pool. Well, I was waiting for my wife. She was working up in Llanrwst, and so they were very welcome for me. Yeah, certainly take on board the youth centre. Happy to take that on board, and I'm sure our team will look at that. What happens next year is we go again. And it would be best, as obviously, I think, I don't know what happened, week 3 in the job or whatever, but I would be keen to make it more sustainable and perhaps look at longer term contracts with town and community councils. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Dawn, we may have to look at this strategy because there's elections coming up, so we may have to look at this again. But as I see it, we're aiming for cost neutral this financial year, and if that's achieved, I think we build upon that, delivering public conveniences for residents and visitors to Conwy County.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Next speaker is Councillor Harry.
Yes, thanks, Chair. For just a couple of points I want to pick up. First of all, I'll say, Mike, what you just said about looking towards longer-term contracts with town community councils. I think that's something they would welcome. I know there's always concern with town community councils around looking at funding of partnership projects with Conway ahead of their budget setting process. The 2 points I had, first of all, I think Mike, you touched on the new toilets being installed in Kimp Bay. I appreciate you said that these will be leased out to a third party. But I'm conscious that the position of the Cabinet this time last year was that public toilets weren't worth having in Kimp Bay. Those were the exact words in this committee. So I'd like to know when that changed and whether or not the money that's been spent putting those toilets in place, even if it is Welsh Government grant funding, could have been spent on something else. Secondly, I'm having a look at your action plan, and there's a specific reference to reviewing public toilets that are capital to use, and considering the suitability for introducing charges. And I did know there's been a public toilet which has been sponsored by the town council to remain free, and I think it took a lot of locals and the town council by surprise when it had contactless charging equipment placed in the door. So I'd just be interested to understand how that review process is taking place. I think in fairness, that incident in Llandudno did cause quite a lot of consternation locally, and I think that's something that could have been avoided. So I'd be interested in some feedback on those points. Thank you.
I think Geraint wants to. I'll ask Geraint to come in. With town and community councils, I'll make the offer that as a cabinet member that I would be prepared to attend, because I just think this is such a collaboration success story. So I'm more than happy to come along with officers to talk about how we cement the contracts going forward, or just the collaborative working instead of perhaps contracts is a little bit too much. I am aware of these are toilets by the paddling pool that had the and I'm aware. Then I think possibly Louise maybe put a note on there saying that they were actually free, if off the best of my memory. Obviously I don't have the history of that, but obviously signage and getting that message out will be really important for me as a cabinet member. You know, if we've got free facilities, I think we should be shouting them from the rooftops. I think they should be on notice boards. I think we should be letting the hotels know exactly where these facilities are and stuff like that. Obviously, there are cost implications when you say stuff like this, but this is a sort of area that I'm keen to move forward on in the communication of where these toilets are. I noticed that the two businesses that have taken part in the scheme, there's one in particular that I'd want to go and have a look at it to see if it actually tells me that I can use this facility, because a lot of the time you look at some businesses say, you know, it's for customers only. I'm sorry, could you repeat your second question for Geraint? I think it's a bit more operational, was it?
Yeah, so the second was around this new convenience in Kimmel Bay. So I understood the position a year ago was, quote, toilets weren't worth having in Kimmel Bay. You've obviously committed to spending money, albeit large money, on building a new toilet block. So I'm just curious to understand when did that change?
Councillor Sam, would you mind muting, please? Councillor Sam Cotton, can you mute your device? Thank you. Give her a round, but everyone can.
Sorry about that, Councillor Harry.
No, don't worry from that. Did Geraint get that, or do I?
Okay, Kimmel Bay. My understanding is we're not constructing public conveniences at Kimmel Bay. The proposal is still in its infancy, but my understanding is it would the proposal is for a concession building that may incorporate toilet facilities. That's my understanding.
Okay, that's helpful. Thanks for the clarification there.
Okay, so I do have a few speakers, but I'm just going to try and attempt. Has he dropped off, Simon? I'm going to try and bring in Councillor Simon.
Hello?
Yeah, working.
I think you heard me. Right. Thank you very much, Kadiri, and congratulations on your chairmanship. A couple of things. I'm really disappointed that we still have not got the cafes and toilet facilities on the Cayley Prom. It's been finished for nearly 2 years. We only just got the parking meters in, and I'm not sure if they're working again. It's a real disappointment, and we've missed out, and our visitors have missed out, and they'll remember that. A couple of questions. There were in the original toilet provision notice that we had back last year, certain concessionaires were going to be approached to take responsibility for toilets, among which was Paracellas on the beach, Colwyn Bay. I'm wondering what the response to those concessionaires taking responsibility was. The other question was certain toilets on proms, particularly the Central Prom and Llanfyddechan Prom, are out of season, even though I believe they are all paid facilities, money in the slot. What is the reason for closing them out of season? If they're needed, could we not just adjust the payment that's being taken for these toilets? Because I'm sure people would really appreciate having a toilet available, even if they have to pay more for it. And I'm not sure if that aspect has been considered in the out of season closure or complete, well, not complete closure plans. Could we make them viable if we raise the prices on them? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just come in quickly. I think, and I'm happy to have this this discussion now. It's not exactly, we're getting into more sort of operational, I think, than the strategy. I think the strategy, I think the strategy is really ambitious, and I'd love to come here and say that it's been achieved. We don't know yet. I think indicators are that it's going well. Operationally, with some of the issues, I think the kiosk will probably come under estates, who will be, if you like, the landlord, and then it depends then on what contract, robust contract, if you're going to be providing a facility, a toilet facility in them. So that'll be a conversation with estates to have a contract that has teeth to supply that public facility. And I'm not sure. I do remember when I was last on the cabinet that I'm not sure part of the facility for paracellers was opening up toilets. I don't think it was part of the contract at that time, but I'll need to double check. I don't know if Geraint wants to come in on anything.
Yeah, I apologise. I can't give you the specific detail about that specific toilet on the promenade. I can share your disappointment that the cafes, the new promenade structures, have been delayed. However, they went out to tender. The tender that came back was wholly unaffordable. They've been re-tendered, and the tenders that came back demonstrated that it was absolutely the right thing to do. They've now come in under the budget that we have, so we can deliver those. They are late in being provided. I take your point that we've missed the summer season. However, we would not have been able to afford the capital cost at the tender price that was tendered originally. Yes, I don't know the detail about paracellers toilets, but happy to go away and make that inquiry.
Is that okay, Councillor Simon?
As discussed again, is it going to come back to this committee?
Sorry, we missed the beginning of that, Councillor Simon.
Say, are we going to have these operational matters reported back to the committee at some stage? If we're supposed to be doing just strategy at this point.
Hi, Councillor Simon. Let me just come in. Operational matters wouldn't come to a scrutiny committee. You could probably ask for a further update on like a post-decision report in another 12 months. That probably would be the most appropriate way forward.
That probably would be a bit too late for next season.
Also, you've got your local area forums, haven't you? So that could be a conduit for this.
Right. Thank you. I'm going to bring in Councillor Hannah.
Thank you. So just on the kiosks, Simon, we had that came up at local area forum, and although it wasn't reported at the last meeting, it was deferred, but there has been an update that's been sent by the officers to us all explaining the issue with the tender and how this is much more acceptable tender. Certainly I share your disappointment that they've not been up for this year, but on the other hand, I think we actually end up with a better solution with the wind that we will be having, and I understand that they're going to go to construction quite soon. I think they're very close to that. So I've got two things I'd like to say. One of them is about those kiosks. I represent those, and the tenants. We've got wonderful tenants that have run our kiosks there in the past. If those tenants, as I understand, take on the contract or take on the tenancy of the kiosks, we will be asking them to run those toilets. What would happen, this is my first question, what would happen if they didn't actually open the toilets as we would like? We know we've had a couple of businesses that have come into the toilet scheme and haven't operated it just as we would like them to do. So firstly, what would be the issue if any of our tenants weren't opening when we were expecting them to open? And the second thing isn't a question, but it's something I'd like to say I welcome. Because we've had to be more creative with the way that we use our spending, then I really welcome the fact that we're making a lot more of our buildings, our Conway buildings, accessible to the public. Because when you've got a building that's already got people going in and out and using that building, that makes for much the perception of safety of going in to use that toilet. I know we have had in the far distant past episodes of lewd behaviour, shall I say, in some of our toilet blocks. It's a much nicer toilet to be able to go in and use if you know that's a place where there are other people working in that vicinity. And I really welcome the fact that it's sad that we've had to be creative, that funds are restrictive, but very positive in the ideas that we've come up with. And to have 20 extra additional buildings where that facility is available is good. But also it's good for our residents to see that these are Conwy buildings, these are their buildings, this is not, you know, some place that they can't come into. So I think that's had several benefits. So my question just about what would happen with the tenants if they were not actually doing what we were asked for the toilets.
I would really hope that that wasn't the case, and I think in order for that to happen, I think it'll be estates that will manage the kiosks, Blevin Evans' team. So is a conversation there needs to be had about when the contracts are offered up, about you know, here's the facility. Part of this contract is that you provide this I think it's one cubicle, so it'd be, is it just one unit?
They're unisex cubicles as well.
Yeah. So I think the contract has to stipulate that this is part of that, and I think there should be consequences of that. We see it in housing when you have a tenancy agreement and then some things go wrong, and I'm forever going on to perhaps an RSL and say you should be sticking to that contract. So I would be. I think there's a conversation to have with the assets and estates team, Blevin Evans' team, about getting that contract written up and how that contract then is managed. I do take on board. I'd be really disappointed if we had a tenant that had signed a contract and then shut the doors. So I would want some sort of recourse for that. And I'd like that written in so everybody understands that.
Thank you. I welcome that really robust contract. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Councillor Sam next.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
That could have been me.
Here we go.
There we go. Thank you. Sorry, Chair. Apologies for rustling paper.
No, it's okay.
Earlier on. I've got two questions. Maybe it was the way I heard Councillor Mike when he delivered his report, but there are the toilets that are chargeable, and there are those that are sponsored by town and community councils. Conway Town Council has finally agreed now to sponsor 3 toilets. 2 of those are chargeable in the Deganwy Beach, Marine Crescent and the Tourist Information Centre. We've never been able to quite pin down how much those toilets earn, but given that they are now being sponsored, is any income that they do generate additional towards maintaining those toilets, or could those be considered to be free of charge in the future, and would that affect any sponsorship levy that is asked for from the town council in the future? And the second question is, I think I saw something in the report about accessible toilets, and obviously toilets needing to be accessible for all, which is obviously very important. But is that, I wonder whether that's a barrier to some businesses coming forward to sign up to the community toilet scheme, because I know that there are businesses who previously been part of that in Conway who don't appear to be part of it anymore. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, if I take the first question, I'd hoped that we'd been open and transparent with town and community councils with regard to total cost of facilities. I'm perfectly happy to share with those town and community councils the income that is received, because effectively, in order to get the running cost of the public convenience, and to get to the charge that we've asked for sponsorship, we've deducted the anticipated income. We would quite happily waive anticipated income with town and community councils if they would fill that gap. So if any town and community councils feel that they haven't had that information, very happy to provide it.
Thank you, Geraint. Do you mind if I go back to the our clerk to just check that information?
Yes, and I'm happy to discuss arrangements with town and community council should they want to change arrangements within the sponsorship pack. There's a within the sponsorship agreement itself, there's a method for changing the arrangements between us. It's not fixed.
Thank you.
Just coming back to the community scheme, Sam, there is a set criteria that is set out if we get interest from a business to provide the public toilets. I mean, we have to be accessible. We can't discriminate against. You can't have a premises open that, I don't know, for example, you can't access a disabled toilet, for example. So it has to be access for everyone. And that's part of a number of things that are checked off by the team when they go into local businesses that demonstrate support. And I think that criteria is on the website. I'm sure. I may have read it, but I'm sure Sarah will be able to get that criteria, and I'm happy to share it with you, Sam.
All right then, thank you.
So I've got no more committee speakers, so I'm going to bring in Councillor Cheryl because she's been really patient. So I'll let you come in now.
Thank you, Councillor Michael. My family would probably say patience isn't one of my main virtues, but thank you very much for letting me speak. I'm not on this committee. And congratulations, Councillor Mike, back to the toilets again. Living the dream, aren't you? Great. I've just got two questions. My first one is, in the list of public toilets, you say here on page 142, the Conway buildings, Portharius isn't mentioned. Now that's a public building paid for by public money, and those are public toilets. Do we know why that isn't on that list, please, Geraint? And also, I understand that Conway has been granted a very large sum of public money to build yet more toilets on the side of Portharius, and I wanted to know why that money wasn't going towards the building across the road on the main road where there's free parking, because those are very, very well used toilets. So that was my first question. And secondly, what disability, health and carers groups have been consulted about the strategy? That's my Carers Champion hat on. So thank you.
Your second question first, the strategy was consulted on back in, there was 2019 and 2023. So I will dig out where who was consulted, but I can't remember at this point. In terms of Portharius, the ask for, well, the strategy required that we look at all council buildings, and I have to pay tribute to other departments within the council came forward with this long list of 20 or 21 buildings that they felt were suitable to operate. Portharius isn't on there. I can't answer why Portharius or the toilets in Portharius aren't on this list. I'd be making assumptions if I did, but I would imagine it's about being a commercial setup, but I can't answer that question.
Thanks. Maybe if an answer could come back to the members from whoever, and also I presume the same goes for the second part of that question about the monies, the for rebuilding a new toilet block when there's a block across the road that desperately needs refurbing. If we could ask, Councillor Michael, if we could ask the question about that.
That's an economy and culture question.
Yeah.
What I suggest we do, obviously we've got a report coming on Porth area, so what we'll do, we'll share the minutes with the relevant report authors, and hopefully they can perhaps either bring those answers to the question to the next meeting, if that's okay.
Diolch, Dawn. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. My next speaker tonight is Councillor David.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. My concerns are about access for disabled people and for young mothers and babies, because we seem in this toilet strategy to have forgotten there are disabled people who might need toilets in emergency or very quickly, and the provision now seems to be if the town and community councils are prepared to take them on. So we seem to be abdicating that. So I think we should still be providing toilets for disabled people. In my ward, we haven't got public toilets. I don't know what happened, but before I was elected, there are no public toilets in Colwyn Ward. And we have quite a vibrant shopping centre on Kepling Road, loads of shops. People go out shopping. If you need a toilet, then really the public toilets aren't there. So perhaps the Cabinet member could answer that question, that the residents in my ward that pay council tax and also pay the precept to the Bay of Colwyn Town Council, they're paying, they don't get a toilet provision in my ward. So really, I think something needs to be done about that. The final question is, when we decide the toilets are going to be given up and we don't need them anymore. Now, on Coycott Road, what were Conway Council public toilets are derelict. I complained about them being derelict, I don't know, as long as I can ever remember. You know, I did ask the county value, and he said, well, nothing to do with us now because we don't own them anymore. But I think we need to be mindful that where toilets are closed down, we don't just allow them to be derelict and be an eyesore for years. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor David. Part of the criteria is to provide toilets that are accessible to all. I'm just looking at the list here in Colwyn Bay, and I did touch upon earlier about having perhaps greater communication in getting the message out. You know, you arrive at a destination, and if you want a toilet, where can we give you that information? How do we get that out? But when we look at Colwyn Bay, I'm looking at, we've got, you know, the provision here in Coed we've got the library, we've got Theatre Colwyn, we've got Colwyn Bay Leisure Centre, we've got Colwyn Bay Tennis Courts, then we've got the Dingle Promenade, we've got Central Promenade. So there's some fair provision there. I'm happy to work with local businesses, community groups, town councils to improve on that provision. But you know, when you get to a destination, you need to know where the toilets are, I suppose. So communication in that is something that we need to improve on, or you know, see if we can work on it another way and get that message out. But there is a fair bit of provision in Colwyn Bay. And I would have thought there's disability access in all of them facilities. Certainly, as the ones I speak for here, there is access for disabled. But yeah, I think it's you know, town notice boards and stuff like that. You know, whether we can put information on. I know when we look at businesses open up, they have to put a display in the shop front or in a window saying that we are part of this scheme. You are welcome to come into our premises. And when I was part of this a few years ago, and when we first implemented it, the feedback we were getting is that footfall was increasing in these businesses. So sometimes I think we pay £500, or we pay £500 for a business to open up its premises, but the feedback I got was footfalls increased as well. So it's a positive instead of having toilets are for patrons or customers only, I think. But I don't know if Geraint wants to add anything on that. No, he doesn't.
I am conscious of time, but I've got two speakers I can bring. Did David want to come? Councillor David, do you want to come back on that?
Yeah, I would like to just come back briefly and say that my Lancashire Colwyn Bay is we've got no toilets at all in Colvin Ward, and we've got quite a vibrant shopping centre in Keffin Road where people go out and shop. The nearest toilets are miles away. You know, all the locations that Mike mentioned are all at least a mile, maybe a mile away from the shopping centre in my ward. So we haven't got that provision there. And the question I asked about the derelict toilets, I said, it's a real eyesore. It'd be great if that was open as a toilet now, well, because it's quite near where the shopping centre, where centre of our shopping centre in Old Colwyn on Cloycott Road. It's an absolute disgrace that's been derelict for years and years and years. Nothing's done about it. So I would like to ask a question about that. Something needs to be done because it is very much an eyesore. And it really annoys people. And we haven't got any toilet provision in my ward. You go out shopping, and yet we've got that derelict toilet that's just been left, you know.
Yeah, I get that, Councillor David. However, I think this meeting is about strategy. You know, if you've got issues that are with regards to derelict buildings, you take that up with the appropriate officers. We do empathise in areas that don't have toilet provision, like my own in Kimmel Bay and more recently Towyn. But you know that there are businesses and other toilet facilities, but we can't have public toilets in every area. It's just not affordable, you know. So we're here for the strategy tonight. I do take your points on board, but I'm going to go to my next speaker, which is Councillor Louise Emery.
Thanks, and I will be quick. So we've got 2 more budgets until the election. It'd be great to have a 2-year plan. So Town Council in Llandudno, I've got a budget line ready for next year, already at the same amount plus 3%. So if you can give us a 2-year deal, that would be really good. Then we know where we are till then. And then I've got to mention Gary Williams because he was fantastic. Really worked hard with him to get this through for Llandudno. He's facilities manager now, retired. So who are we going to be talking to, and is his post being replaced? Thank you.
Councillor Mike did say he was going to get in touch with the town and community councils and would be available to have them discussions, but I'll bring in Gary now.
Your specific question about Gary Williams, yeah, fantastic officer, great loss to the authority, great loss to the department, and his work on the toilet strategy was painstaking. His post will be replaced at some point in time. We don't have a replacement currently. I hesitate to say you're stuck with me. Jane Roberts and Kerry Owen are people that you can talk to around detail of individual toilets, and they will provide you with any information that you need.
So I'm just going to bring in committee members now before any other speakers. So I've got Councillor Gale.
Yeah, just a very quick one. It has been pointed out in the past to Councillor David that the toilets on Coedcock Road actually do not belong to us. When they were closed, they reverted back to ownership of the Ship Pub, and they have no desire for them to be toilets. If there is a problem, then enforcement, as we've said, need to deal with that. Thank you.
And my next committee speaker would be Councillor Allen. Oh, just Alan, you.
Back on? Yeah, there we go. New systems. I think when this all first came up a year or so ago, we were all in dread of we wouldn't have any toilets. Unlike some county councils, our officers and town councils, communities have worked tirelessly to make sure we have. Looking at the list here in front of me, and then the CCBC buildings and community toilet schemes, it looks like we've probably got a net gain. But what the report doesn't say is how many of our what were existing toilets have been closed on a whatever we would call it, a permanent closure now, because they weren't taken up for sponsorship. So I'd like to know how many of those toilets were closed and just basically what the net gain was, because looking at this list, I think the officers and everyone that's been involved have done a great job of making sure that this county does have some toilets. In fact, a lot of toilets.
I bring Geraint in, and I would imagine I can mention one, and that's in my ward, and that was just constantly being vandalised. And I'm not sure, Sam, whether we did something with the town council at the time to help with the Osborne Road car park in Llandudno Junction. No, But I know they're just constantly vandalised, which is obviously puts strategies like this under pressure. But I'll hand over to Geraint regarding the permanent closures.
I don't have with me this evening a list of those toilets that have been permanently closed, but I do take the point, Councillor Allen. It was the strategy itself that gave us the opportunity to be innovative in the way that we were able to identify and locate facilities. The strategy, 2023 strategy, identified within it that we managed 48 public toilets. This report that you have before you this evening shows that we have 48 public toilets available in Conway County, and we operate a total of 41 of these. As I say, I don't have a list of those that have closed with me, but I can make that list available.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that.
I am conscious of time as time does go on, but I've got a few more speakers. I've got Councillor Paul.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I'd also like to put on record my commendation really for Gary Williams, who I personally held in very high esteem, and this was a desperately difficult task over and above all his other work as facilities manager, and he was tireless in supporting me in trying to get my town council persuaded to keep our toilets open. We were successful on one in terms of sponsorship of the Pensarn Promenade. And it was nothing down to Gary. You know, my ineffectiveness in persuading my colleagues was down to me. The concern that I have is the two toilets in my town council area, Water Street and Pentramar Park, is their disposal now. Now, I've seen the disposal policy. Geraint kindly sent that to me, and that is very thorough and rigorous. I'm not a member of this committee, so I would like us to maybe have a report in a year's time on the disposal of those toilets that weren't successfully kept open. And I think this is particularly concerning for the public because, for example, the Pentramar toilet in Abergele, we as a town council are paying back £42,000 for the work that was done on that toilet over 10 years back to Conway. And so I think there is particular concern that where we weren't successful in getting sponsorship for toilets, that, if you like, the full story is available to the residents in that area, because it is quite painful that we're paying back £4,200 for the next 10 years for that toilet, which is going to be disposed of now. And I think that's crucial that sort of information is in the public domain.
Paul, I'm sure you're a lot wiser now, and I'm more than happy to come along to Abergele to see if we could together persuade. You never know. Give me the invite, I'll come along. I'm minus Gary, obviously.
So can I just ask that through you, Chair, because I'm not a member of the committee, so I can't propose it, but I don't think it's an unreasonable request, and I don't think it's necessarily an operational request, that as part of this strategy in a year's time, I don't know, and Geraint wasn't able to tell us how many toilets are in the situation as the two closed in my area, that in a year's time we have a report on that disposal process and how that's making progress, because obviously it will generate some capital receipts for the council.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Paul. I'll just bring in Cabinet Member Councillor Nigel, and then I'm going to look for a proposer and a seconder after that.
Neil Kaderith, we mustn't forget how successful this has been. This was brought about when toilets were being closed throughout the country, not just of Wales, but of the United Kingdom. And to the hard work of our staff and the engagement and support of our town and community councils, we're in a fantastic position where we've got double the amount of toilets of one of our close neighbouring authorities. We should be very, very proud of what we've achieved. We also have businesses on board. I was looking at the list. I think, Garrett, I think your list is a little bit out of date, because I can see on there that there's no listings for Kimmel Bay, and yet we have toilets in the town council building, and we also have toilets in the community hall and library building, which aren't listed. And I was surprised to see that there's only 2 businesses listed on the community toilet scheme, which I'm pretty sure there must be more, surely to goodness. And if there isn't, then we need to be going out to the businesses and see if we can encourage more. But this is a real success story, a real success story. The Vice Chair mentioned about our concessions. Conway Morver, I think there's a concession there, and the concession holder was complaining that we weren't opening the toilets. And we weren't opening because we couldn't afford to. Conway Town Council didn't want to, but the concession owner wanted them opened because they were losing business. And they're a real asset to our concession holders if they've got a toilet. And they took them over. They took the toilets over. And that's a great success. And I've no doubt that when Kimmel Bay, when we get our new concession with a toilet, that'll be open as well when the concession's open. So I think, really, for me, this is a success story, and we should be mindful of that. It's not perfect, I totally get that, but I'm really pleased. And I think, Garrett, you need to update your list. That's all I want to say. Thank you very much.
So I was going to look for a proposer and a seconder next, but we have got Councillor Sam that wants to come in.
Sorry, yes, I put my yellow hand on there.
Ah, it's okay. I did wonder.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to maybe correct Councillor Nigel that when the gentleman came along to Conway Town Council to tell us of his plans to take over the kiosk and reopen them, he had every intention of incorporating the toilets into that plan, and that was always part of his plan when he redeveloped and reopened the kiosk. It wasn't a question of the town council wouldn't do it. He offered when he came along to present his plans to us. I just wanted to clarify that point, please.
Thank you.
Thanks for the correction, Sam. But either way, those toilets are open. They're a benefit to that business and a benefit to our residents and visitors alike.
Okay, Councillor Allen.
Thanks, Chair. I'd just like to propose that we go with the recommendation that the Economy and Place Overview and Scrutiny Committee scrutinises and notes the progress made in delivering the local toilet strategy. I think we've done a fairly good job of scrutinising it today.
And it looks like I've got
I'll
a
second it.
seconder in Councillor Bernice, so thank you. So we are going to look to open that vote then. Yep. So just a few more left to vote. Yeah, I think with the amount of votes we've received now, I'm happy to close the vote, and that has been passed. So I'd just like to take an opportunity to thank Councillor Mike and Geraint tonight for the report and answering all the questions. A great report. We're doing a fantastic job there, and I look forward to my new concession in Kimmel Bay and the discussions around the toilets then.
Well chaired.
Thank you very much, Councillor
well
Mike.
chaired.
So I'm looking to close the meeting.
Thank you.